Shalom, all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Dev honors to the apostles, dev honors to the others of Great Millstone. Salutations to you walking dead and teaching the truth in city across the four corners of the earth. This is your brother Kabash coming at you with another edifying lesson through the Spirit. This is a lesson going into how Israel is under the curses, how the love of many are waxing cold according to the prophecy that Yahweh Shai told the disciples that would happen in the latter times. This shows that we are the children of Israel. No other nation is going through this in a consistent way that Jake is, and particularly in America, is really under the influence of. Been so many cases of Jake, in particular these women, just doing away with Israel children, man. Murdering them. Go show you that we are the children of Israel according to these curses that are put on our people. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video and I'm going to get into a couple of scriptures.
Her 7-month-old baby to death gets sentenced by judge.
So she starves her 7-month-old baby to death. Man, and then in the video, it also says that it was other adults around the baby at the time. So adults was going in and out the place knowing that a baby was starving to death. And in particular, it was Jake's. It was these so-called Negroes that knew about this. You know, Jake is sick, man. Jake is sick in this world, man. You know, the elect may fall 7 times, but they get back up. You Jakes out there, y'all don't seek to get back up from nothing. And really from that, man, it's like you got that monster, man, to have that inside your mind, to have a baby go through that type of madness, man. Like you Jakes, man, you gotta be put down. You gotta be put to death, man. So she starves the baby to death. I'm gonna go ahead and continue.
Starved her 7-month-old baby to death, she pleaded guilty to felony injury to a child. She was later sentenced by a judge known for giving second chances. Her punishment speaks volumes. Princess White, a 22-year-old Dallas, Texas mother, pleaded guilty to felony injury to a child after her 7-month-old son, Kerry Sharp, died, weighing only ounces more than he did when he was born. State District Judge Teresa Hawthorne, who's known for giving second chances, heard the case, frequently interjecting during testimony to ask questions, as she often wondered what led White to neglect her baby.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story.
During the court hearing, prosecutor Aaron Price showed photos of an emaciated Kerry with no muscle or fat on his tiny body. In autopsy photos, the baby was so thin that every rib could be seen, and the skin around his belly and backside sagged where muscle and fat used to be. His bones were protruding and his body was shrunken in comparison to his head, the Dallas Morning News reported. Princess White told police that Kerry had trouble keeping down his bottles because he was lactose intolerant, but Price compared emaciated photos of Kerry to old pictures found on White's phone, showing the baby was once healthy and well-fed, with a round face and rolls on his arms and legs. In some pictures, Kerry had a wide-mouthed, toothless grin. That all changed, however, as his mother neglected him. The horrific images of Kerry's emaciated body were accompanied by expert testimony, painting a grim picture of the baby's final months. Describing the baby as skin and bones, Dallas Police Detective Chris Adams, a child abuse detective who went to the hospital after Kerry died, said, "If I didn't know it was the same child, you couldn't convince me." Dr. Suzanne Dackel, a pediatrician specializing in child abuse cases, echoed Adams's disbelief in her testimony. When shown a photo of Kerry when he was alive, the pediatrician raised her eyebrows and asked, "That's the same child?" The doctor testified that even babies who have trouble eating or keeping down their food wouldn't be as emaciated as Kerry was when he died. That would have been slow suffering, Dr. Dackel said after looking at a photo of Kerry's body. This is actively, passively letting a kid die right in front of you, she added. It's not an act of minutes, it's weeks, months. Princess White, of course, told a much different story. The mother claimed that she fed Carey 8 ounces of soy milk the morning of his death, but the police didn't find any soy milk in the home. Carey's autopsy also disproved White's assertion. The baby's stomach was empty, the report said, and all that remained in his body was feces he was likely too weak to pass. Not only was Carey too weak to defecate in the hours and days before he died of starvation, but he was also too weak to cry. He was so emaciated he wouldn't have been able to lift his head or roll over.
Damn, man.
At birth, Carey weighed
These
around
women
6
are
pounds
wicked
9
as hell.
ounces. At a checkup when he was 3 months old, he was slightly underweight at 9 pounds. But when he died, he weighed only 7 pounds. If he'd been taken to a hospital, Dr. Dackel said he could have been saved. He would have gained weight and his growth would have been that of a normal, healthy child. Instead, multiple adults watched him die slowly, something Judge Hawthorne struggled to comprehend. What the hell were you grown-ups doing in there? Hawthorne asked White's 24-year-old aunt Kiara Hamlet, who lived with White, her 3 children, and White's sister. Is there anything you can say to me to help me understand why for 2 months nobody took care of this baby? Hamlet, who testified that she could tell Carey was small for his age but didn't realize how emaciated he was until the day he died, sniffed and hung her head, unable to answer. Asking the court for leniency, Shindu Alexander, White's defense attorney, said, "I don't think Princess White realized if she didn't take him to the doctor he could die." The attorney also alleged that White's parenting skills worsened after the father of her 3 children went to prison, leaving her to work and care for the kids by herself. She was ill-equipped to deal with the exact situation she had, Alexander said. Prosecutor Aaron Price said it was pointless to waste time trying to figure out why a mother would let her baby starve to death, because White was a liar and manipulator, who claimed she had fed Carey and changed his diaper the day he died. Instead, medical records showed the child was wearing an old, heavily saturated, foul-smelling diaper. As awful as it may sound, Price said, it would have been more humane for her to put a bullet in his head. Although Judge Hawthorne said she often gives people second chances so they can get the help to amend their mistakes, she told Princess White she couldn't ignore what you did by letting that baby die. With the images of Carey's body etched forever into her mind, Judge Hawthorne scolded White further, telling her, that poor child longed for nurture and food. The judge then sentenced White to life in prison for starving her baby to death, WFAA reported. After receiving her sentence, White shouted no before being led back to a holding cell, where she could be heard wailing from inside the courtroom. Her family threw themselves on the floor weeping as White's mother asked, how could they give my baby life? Perhaps she should ask her.
Then the grandmother saying why her daughter get life. It's like, no, man, your daughter is a wicked demon, man. You should want your daughter to be put to death because of that. See, that's why the law, statutes, commandments need to be brought back in the earth. Things like that, man. Like, look at that, man. No way an Israelite woman or man go about freely in the land of Israel after doing some monstrous thing like that to their child, man. In Israel alone, she'll be put to death, man. The elders wouldn't have it, man. The princes of the land wouldn't have that, man. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when should these things be? And what should be the sign of thy coming? And of the end of the world. Fast forward, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Yeah, that was cold, man. And it's a lot of jakes out here that's cold like that. And they be right amongst us. But the scripture say it was going to happen. That's why it's important for you jakes to hearken unto the Lord, because the Lord about to put another spirit on these 2/3. Because the 2/3, the Lord already sealed for damnation. So they're going to go harder for the wicked side even more. But the Lord is going to exempt those that are not part of the 2/3, which are all of Israel, he's going to protect them. He's going to protect us. When all hell break loose, the 2/3 are going to be destroyed, man. You know, they're gonna wild out, because they wilding out right now, man. You know, that damn woman, she's a 2/3. That mother that starved her baby was a 2/3, man. Prime example. And the people that was around her, they're 2/3 too, man. And the Lord got something special for them. You know, the Lord gave her life, but at the same time, she might catch more hell, or she's gonna catch more hell in the prisons too. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicacy and tenderness. You know, as our women used to be delicate back in the ancient world. Now they're harlots. Her eyes should be evil toward the husband of her bosom. A lot of women, a lot of Evites are poisoning their husbands, shooting them while they sleep, setting them up. All type of madness going on, man, including the men too. But these women, they take the extra mile, man. Like constantly, when the husband ain't doing no elf or messing around, should I say? And it says, her eyes should be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she bare. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness. So these women gonna be eating their children too. You know, it ain't just them starving their children out or murdering them, killing them, leaving them in the trunk for a year. It was a story out of a man, sister, putting his children in the trunk of her car, leaving them in there for a year. You know what I mean? And you know, go to show you where the father mind's at, where the parents' mind's at, because they don't give a damn about their children, man. You know what I mean? This is the wickedness that the scriptures are talking about. And there was Jake's. You know, she was an Evite. She left those children in their trunk for a year, and they was decomposing. Goes to show you, man, the wickedness of our people, man. And to be honest, they not even our people. They are the synagogues of Satan. The Lord already made a divine line between the 2/3 and the 1/3. The 1/3 is already going after Satan, man. I tell you, though you don't see it on their faces when you're in the stores and the public areas, because you're so busy and stuff like that, you know, with your life. But at the same time, man, these people have Satan in them, man. The only thing we can do is put curses on these people, man. You know, we put curses on our enemies first thing in the morning, or whenever the Lord put the spirit on you. Put the curses on 2/3 of Israel and the rest of these other nations outside of Israel. And you just send up blessings for the elect. Because they're gonna do what they're gonna do anyway. You know, it's just sitting to just hear these articles like these, man. It says, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness. Come on, man. You know them Jakes over there in Venezuela eating their children. Hell, maybe some Jakes over here in America doing it. I wouldn't be surprised. Even though the stores are still open, even though the chip is not being mandated, even though it's not a harsh famine in a land such as other countries. And America has it pretty much gooder than these other countries. So Jake doing this type of thing in America is really sickening, man. But the scriptures must be fulfilled. It's going to happen like this, man, when all hell break loose and it's not civil or it's not civilized enough to go to these stores, and these stores will be shut down without food. You people going to be eating your children in a siege. Wherewith thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Yeah, Esau's going to distress you, Jake's. Meaning he's going to implement martial law. You're going to have curfews. He's going to ration out food to you. And when there is no more food, that's it. And you're going to eat your family members in the siege. Which, like I mentioned, some of you Jakes are out there doing that right now. Because you are of your father, the devil. The lust of the devil you will do. You know, that's man, come on, man. Look at her, yo. No care in the world. She look dirty. She don't even look like she's there. And then her stupid ass mama gonna say, why you gonna give my child life? Nigga, she's a fucking murderer, nigga. She's a monster. She's a threat to society. She's a threat to life, man. She's a fucking murderer, man. Dumbass parents was probably the ones passing by in the house while the baby was starving and smelling like that, yo. No, death to these Jakes, man. To them, I'm going to say shalom.